8 on Sunday morning. Consider this your very last warning. Jake Yapp's here with lots to say. It's your last chance to tune away. J to the A to the K to the E to the Y to the A to the F. Jake Yapp's here with some jokes. What a topical. It's better than being woke up by a neighbour's cockerel. Morning faster than a speeding pullet. This is Sunday Breakfast on Talk Radio with Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven. Because there's nowhere better to go. It's Talk Radio. Certainly is. Laura. Good morning. I can't hear you. No, I can't. Look, just because. Look, it's DIY SOS. I told you. Nick Knowles is here for the big reveal. Why does he have to do that? I mean, what's he working through there?
It makes some people happy.
Nick Knowles, big reveal. Something we've all been dreading.
Speak for yourself, love.
Lots to talk about this morning. Good morning. It's lovely to be here. And we're live until 11 o'clock. After that, Paul Ross has a general election special. And he's awake. I think he might be listening. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Paul.
Oh, bless him.
Oh.
I feel for him because, you know, he does Monday to Friday breakfast.
Yep.
6 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Which proper breakfast. Not like our breakfast, which is like cop-out breakfast.
Oh.
He must have... Come on, if we were on air at 6...
I know, but it's Sunday. Nobody's awake at 6.
But that's my point, is the man is tortured. He's still awake at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday because, you know, he's programmed now.
I suppose so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I imagine him Saturday and Sunday morning just aimlessly walking around kicking bins. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do? Poor guy. You might as well put him on 7 days a week. The guy's programmed now.
Yeah, yeah. They've done a good job on Paul Ross.
I don't know why I'm talking myself out of a job. So we're going to be talking about hummus. We're going to be talking about slavery. We're going to be talking about 100 days of Trump. On a personal note. We're going to be talking about the very sad death of Leo Baxendale, personal hero of mine. He was a cartoonist for the Beano. He's the guy who we owe the phrase double whammy to. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
That was his phrase. He
From
coined
which
it.
character?
Minnie the Minx.
And
when she did a sort of whirling both her fists round and round and round with her arms.
That was
known as a double whammy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. The guy was amazing. I met him a couple of times. Loveliest man.
Really?
Yeah, really lovely man. We're heading off to Chester for All Over Datchet. And Bad Film Club. What a humdinger that was.
Yes, thanks for choosing that, Jake.
United Passions. If you love football...
You still won't like
judging you. Oh, sorry, yeah. And we've got Sunday Love Songs. Sunday Love Songs.
I didn't know about this.
Simon Love is going to be in the studio
yes,
singing.
I didn't know about this. Yes.
Singing with us. So, all that and significantly less. And yeah, so should we should... do you watch Sky News?
Sometimes, against my better judgment. Why?
Well, no, I like Sky News.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot, actually. I probably watch that more than any other news channel.
My son's a big fan of Sky News.
I think they've nailed it, to be honest with you. And you've got some great presenters on there.
Stephen Dixon. We've got a signed photograph of Stephen Dixon in my son's bedroom. Is that who you're going to say? Oh, it's gone all silent. What have I done? I've said something wrong.
I don't know what to do with that information.
My son has a signed photograph.
You've absolutely stopped me in my tracks there.
Sorry.
I might need a minute.
Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing? Stephen Dixon, he's a big fan of Stephen Dixon and he got a signed photograph of him.
Oh my God. Matt, help! Oh my God!
Sorry, carry on with what you were saying. I didn't mean to completely derail you.
Just... Oh my God!
Why? I hope my son's listening to this.
Oh my God! Well, look.
He's 11,
What I was going to say, right? I was going to say you've got amazing journalists on there. You've got Dermot Murnaghan, of course.
Oh, yes.
You've got Faisal Islam.
Yes.
You've got Alex Crawford, whose reports are just amazing.
Not familiar with them, but I'm sure you're right.
Like, whenever, I've said this before, you know, if I ever saw Alex Crawford walking down the street, I'd just drop everything and run because you can only assume that something terrible is happening in the vicinity because she's always there, right? Amazing journalists.
Right.
And Stephen Dixon.
Oh, no!
That's what I was going to no, because no.
Oh,
Look.
you should have warned me. I would not have said anything. I don't want to.
The thing is, Laura, that's Stephen, isn't it? Sitting head turned at a sort of 45-degree angle to the camera, almost batting the eyelashes at the camera, isn't it?
You look very sinister.
Going to read the news at my tempo, the way I want to do it. Don't like the blue stuff so much. We don't like that. I feel like he did a presenting course at Nottingham University or something. And this is just made up on my part, you understand?
Nottingham University is a great university.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But anyone who... And it's that sort of... No need to rush it. It will come as it
You make
comes.
him quite arch and camp. Would you say he was arch and camp?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Very groomed eyebrows, if I may say so. And...
Oh, I hope my son isn't listening to this now.
But he's always the anchor on Sunday mornings. And, we like that. He says things like, we like. When people say we like that, I always find that a bit weird. I feel like I'm being recruited into some sort of cult. Yeah, we like that. We like that. Anyway, he's very good. He's very good. Consummate professional. He went to a presenting course at Nottingham University. He didn't. So...
Well, my son has a signed photograph. Carry on. Just remember that.
Yes.
It's an 11-year-old who loves the news, and that's his favourite presenter.
Yeah, we like that. Anyway, he... Consummate professional. But I feel that despite his youth, really, or excessive moisturisation, I can't tell which. I mean, the guy looks good.
Yes, he does.
He's good. And you can't really, let's be honest, Sky News has a sort of policy. You got to be pretty dishy,
Yeah.
And that's fine. But
is he too good looking, do you think?
for me, I can't handle it. I can't handle his good-lookingness. But I feel that he's slightly channeling his inner Partridge occasionally. You know what I mean? Sometimes he'll try and build a link where there necessarily is not a link.
Right. I know what you mean.
So I watched him this morning.
Okay.
I don't know how to put this. It was very good. I mean, it's an excellent show, and I love the broadcast. First of all, they were talking about him and Isabel. Sky News Stephen and Sky News Isabel were talking about the fight, the boxing fight, and it was just idly tapping away on my iPad while I chat to you. Wasn't it fantastic, the fight last night, Isabel? And she said, oh, yeah, it was amazing, the fight, you know. Anthony versus Klitschko. Oh, we were all holding our breath, weren't we, in that 11th round? No idea. But to be honest, they're basically just plugging the fact that you can still get it on Sky Box Office. That's fine. That's what these things happen. Mm. So they're really talking up. But then he has to link to the next news story. So this is what he does, right? Because how do you do it? There's no other way. So he goes, oh, yeah, Anthony versus Klitschko. I mean, that was fantastic, that fight. I mean, it really was fantastic. What is not fantastic is that it's 10 years since the disappearance of Madeleine McCann on Wednesday this week. It's like, oh, my God! How do you... It's like...
That is total Partridge.
This is the importance of the death breath. It's called the death breath in newsreading, right?
What is called... What?
The death breath is a breath you take between stories just to kill one story before you start the next one, right? So he could have gone, that boxing was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's 10 years since. There you are.
That would be much better. Yeah.
What is not fantastic... Oh man! So that was like 6 o'clock this morning, and I thought, well, maybe people could like text us.
Now I understand everything.
You can see why I didn't want to tell you before we came on air, right? So I thought maybe we could talk about what's fantastic and what's not fantastic in your life. You can text us. It's 87222. Text message with the word talk, or you can tweet at Talk Radio. For example, fantastic. Laura, before I went away for a couple of days to the South Coast...
You got north all of a sudden.
I'm doing my Stephen Dixon. Right. What was fantastic was that in the garage I found my Frisbee to take with me. What was not fantastic was that I had failed to adequately secure the garage overhead door, which then came crashing down on my skull. And it was excruciatingly painful. That was not fantastic. So... I'm thinking stuff like that, right?
Right.
87222, start your text message with the word talk. Or you can tweet at Talk Radio. Or ring us up. I hope, Laura, that doing my cover shows for Ian Lee, who's a bit poorly this week, I did Tuesday and Wednesday. I hope that people have realised that, it's okay. You can ring up and we'll just be nice and so pathetically grateful that you rang. You don't. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
you'll have a
do
lovely
ring
time.
us.
You're going to feel like a god.
Yeah.
So if you
We'll
want
be
to do
so
that-
nice to you.
Oh, so nice.
So nice.
So nice.
We'll make you feel so good.
Oh, baby. Hang on. Sorry.
No, not that kind of phone call.
0344 499 1000. Although we're constantly looking for new revenue streams here at Talk Radio. I wouldn't completely write it off. So yeah, there we go. What's been fantastic and what's been not fantastic? Have you got one?
I've got one.
Yeah, go on.
Well, but they're two different things. You were talking about the same thing. My fantastic thing this week was that I'm having my front door painted, which for the first time in 16 years.
Blimey, Laura.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
It's
This
not
is
a
not-
euphemism.
no.
I literally had my front door painted. Yeah, and
It was literally
that
painted.
was fantastic because it no longer looks like the police have been trying to break into it. It's had scratches and scrapes over it. So that's fantastic.
I thought that was on the inside.
The people
Let
trying
me
to get
out.
out. No, it is people trying. I've been locked out many times and had to sort of smack the door. a
You
few
just
times.
erode the door in.
Well, I got passers-by to sort of try and kick it, help me kick it in a couple of times.
Excuse me, would you mind kicking my doors in?
Yeah, a long story. Anyway,
I'm
and
thinking of getting it painted.
for another time perhaps. And not fantastic this week was
Not fantastic.
not
Laura.
not fantastic.
What was it not fantastic?
Well, I went out for a meal with my dad because it was his birthday, and he's all there, but he's deaf, and me and him disagree politically about many things, and so we end up being in a restaurant with the whole family and shouting quite loud. Well, he's shouting really loudly things that I don't want him to say in a public space about. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was not fantastic.
That was not fantastic. What for you has been #fantastic, not fantastic this week at Talk Radio? 87222, text message with word talk, or ring us up 0344 499 1000 is the number to call.
It's Mr. Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Okay, I think we're up to speed now. You all right and settled in?
Yep.
Yeah, good. It's Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven live until 11. After that, it's Paul Ross live with an election special. We'll have a look at the front pages in a minute. But already, the tweets have come trickling in.
What we got?
Nat says, good morning. I'm up with a cuppa and a Marmite and a slice of toast.
Ooh, yum.
I think you mean like a slice of toast with Marmite on it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you want a cuppa? Yeah, I would love it. Do you want a Marmite? Yeah, I would love a Marmite.
Might be a cup of Marmite. I like hot bovril.
Hot Bovril.
Hot bovril.
Hot Bovril.
Hot Marmite.
I prefer it as a shake. Anyway, he says, this is what Sunday morning's about. Oh, yeah. I have to say, Marmite on toast sometimes. It's the only thing, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Also, we've been asking for what's been fantastic and what's been not fantastic.
In a northern accent.
Yeah. And we've had loads, right? Karen said, my dogs didn't wake us up early. Fantastic. What is not fantastic was that they had done poos in the kitchen. Now, that is not fantastic. What's not fantastic? Yeah. Keep these coming at Talk Radio, or you can text 87222, start a text message with the word talk. We've got Julie. Says, I saw this photo of Barry Chuckle and Jay-Z at the boxing. Fantastic. What is not fantastic is that it's fake. It's been photoshopped.
Oh, I saw that photo. I was wondering what she can say about that.
Yeah.
Thought maybe it'd be a fight or something between them, but no.
I would like to see a Chuckle Brother and Jay-Z have a fight.
Yeah, me too.
I almost feel like it would be a fair fight.
Who do you think would win? Mind you, it depends on which Chuckle Brother.
I think my money's on Barry.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he the
That's
big one?
Jay-Z's first name, right? Barry Jay-Z. Anyway, keep those coming. You're right there, babes.
Yeah, I have. I've got a frog in my throat. It's gone now.
Pollen getting to you, babe.
No, I'm
Just
all
a
right. I'm
frog.
all right.
Just a
pollen.
frog.
Just a frog. The one. Amphibian.
What are you doing with frogs? What are you doing with it? You gargling frogs. Why'd you do that? Why'd you even do that? You're so weird. Why'd you gargle frogs? Front page of the Sunday Telegraph says that Theresa May rejects Brussels' demands. She's, doing all that.
Okay.
No, I can't really be bothered. Can you be bothered? It's Sunday. Come on.
Yeah, unfortunately, my papers, I've got 4. You've got 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah.
Mine are split. I've got 2 that say one thing and 2 that say another thing.
Okay. Well, you judge it.
On the politics side,
Yeah.
2 of them on the Sunday Times, they are saying May is living in another galaxy, says Brussels. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, how does that work in terms of border control?
I know, it makes it a lot more complicated.
I think we do need double customs on every Stargate.
Good point.
The Mail on Sunday says, Theresa, I will wage war on pensions cowboys. Yes, this is the supposed sort of Philip Green charter that
Oh, yes, there's
talking about. Philip Green, okay. I'm very unhappy with the way I'm being portrayed in all of this. Okay, I'm a great guy. Okay.
Oh, you'll like this. There's another
Lionheart.
story. Remind me to tell you about that.
Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will, Laura.
Okay.
Laura, yes, I will. I'm going to pop that in my diary.
Yeah, but that's not on the front page. That's why I'm not mentioning it now.
8:37 a.m. Remind Laura.
No, there's a
No,
story
no,
about
no.
It's a Philip.
8:37 a.m.
Right. The other EU headline, because I told you 2 of them in the EU. The Sunday Times EU and the Observer says EU threatens May on trade talks and its citizens' rights. So that's my 2 on that subject.
Good. Daily Star on Sunday has David James' sordid sex tape leaked.
Who's David James?
He's the former England goalkeeper. Everyone knows that. He
Okay.
said, reading hastily.
Right, and my Sunday Express and Sunday Mirror, they're basically the same story. Headline is all about Madeleine McCann and buying. The parents still buy birthday presents for when we find Maddie.
Oh, crikey. Sunday People says that stress kills 6 in 1 regiment. I don't know if that's six in one. I guess 6 people in 1 regiment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably should have read ahead, but I didn't.
Actually, I should have said no. I misread the Sunday Express. It's a Madeleine McCann story, but it is a world exclusive. Apparently, Maddie, prime suspect, is a woman.
Okay.
I just thought I'd let you know. But do you want to hear the Philip Green story that's in the Sunday Mirror?
Sure.
Because you were talking about Philip Green.
Yeah, 100%, Lord Sugar.
Apparently, billionaire Sir Philip Green has sparked fresh outrage. Billionaire. Page 5 Sunday Mirror.
Billionaire.
He's a billionaire. Yeah, BHS billionaire.
Do you know the difference between a million and a billion if you express it in seconds?
I don't even understand the question.
I think it's something like 1 million seconds is something like a month.
Oh, right, okay.
1 billion seconds is something like 11 years.
Ooh,
That's the difference.
it's a big difference.
So when you say billionaire, that's quite a jump.
Well, to be fair, that's what the Sunday Mirror says. So I don't want to take full responsibility for such.
I think it's a very good caveat, Laura, and absolutely worth doing.
Anyway, he has sparked fresh outrage by taking over one of his former BHS stores a year after the firm collapsed with the loss of 11,000 jobs. Former BHS workers are threatening to protest outside the Outfit fashion chain when it opens in Newcastle city centre next month.
That's cheeky, though, isn't
It is
it?
cheeky. Do you think he'd go elsewhere?
Is he going to call it OHS? Offshore Home Stores?
I don't know.
I think there's a sketch.
I'll put that in my diary. Let me put that in my diary. 8:41 skit about offshore.
But I marked in the papers. I thought, I'll read that story out because I know that Jake has feelings about Philip Green.
I do have feelings.
You have feelings. They're strong feelings.
I do have No, I mean, look, the guy. No one can sport an open-necked white shirt the way Philip Green can. I don't think there's any disputing that. For all the controversy, it's exquisite. That kind of big open neck that almost goes down to like right between the breasts. Absolutely stunning. That sort of salt and pepper hair tumbling out from the cleavage.
Right.
Gorgeous. And then the hair, freshly oiled, slicked back there. The fingers, those sort of thick fingers, almost artisanal fingers, going through the hair with the oil. Yes?
People are waking up just now. I think you might be making them feel slightly nauseous.
I thought that was quite nice.
It was. It's a lovely image for first thing when you're waking up.
Yeah.
So,
Toby, our newsreader, has tweeted us. Now that's a bit weird. We're going a bit passive-aggressive and weird now, aren't we? He says, what's fantastic is that you're doing my What's Fantastic, What's Not Fantastic feature. What's not fantastic is that I wasn't credited. Well, that's not how I remember it going down, Toby, and that's because of my ego. Okay, so I need you to deal with it.
was he? Did he say to you, guys? Because it was before I got to the office this morning.
Yeah.
I've just been watching Sky News.
Yeah, no,
Did he really?
didn't. No, he didn't say that.
So, well, how's it his then?
I don't know.
Because did you not watch the original Perpetrator?
To be fair to him, I think he did come up with the first iteration of Fantastic and Not Fantastic. I'm going to give him that. He's a nice guy, and I don't want him. He's bigger than me. I'm very frightened. I'm very, very frightened. Jem says, fantastic. What's fantastic is I spent time playing in a sunny spring garden with the kids.
Ah, that is fantastic.
That is fantastic, isn't it? Playing in a sunny spring garden with the kids. That is fantastic. What's not fantastic is that they found a dead mouse, which I had to dispose of.
Right.
I'll get the trowel. Oh, man. Right. We need to, we need to resolve one of the burning issues of this week, which has been hummus. I mean, hummus has been, for me, the biggest story this week.
Has it?
As a vegan, click. That's the sound of everyone across the country switching off. All the hummus disappeared off the supermarket shelves this week.
I was looking for it. I didn't realise.
Right.
Oh.
Because it seems to me there's only one massive silo boiling up chickpeas for the entire hummus industry.
And yet there are so many different brands.
I know. Ooh. And they all had a funny metallic taste, so everything got pulled. You could not find hummus. It was one of the hardest 2 days of my life. I had to eat.
But you make your own hummus.
I had to eat vegetables. Anyway, Hummus Gate continues, and I'll tell you how after this.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
I swear I pressed the button. I swear I pressed... Nick Knowles' big reveal coming. No. Basically, we're putting a thing together for the kids. He was in the newspapers this week.
What's he? What for?
Yeah, his marriage is not doing well.
Oh.
Yeah, that's been very hard.
Oh, I think a couple of weeks ago he was in the papers for being out with somebody probably younger than his wife. Is that him? Or
No, that was his wife. I don't know. I think it was. I don't know. Anyway, good morning. How are you? It's Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven live until 11 o'clock. After that, Paul Ross is live here with an election special. And we need to talk about hummus. In 15 minutes, we're going to talk about something quite serious. We're talking about slavery. Mm-hmm. I had a fascinating cab ride this week, which I will tell you about in a bit.
Oh, right. Not now.
Which led into this conversation about slavery and is it still happening and how and where.
Your cab driver was quite well informed, was he?
You've no idea.
No, I don't.
He's from Ethiopia. It's a fascinating story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. But you're not going to tell us
now.
now.
But in the meantime, let's talk about hummus. So,
fantastic, not fantastic.
There's been all these articles in the papers sort of saying, hummus crisis, make your own. You know, everyone's jumped on that. Oh, here's a recipe for hummus. I saw a recipe.
Not again.
For hummus.
Oh.
1 can of chickpeas drained.
Yeah.
And then 100 millilitres of tahini.
You don't like tahini.
That's a third of a can of soft drink. That is far too much tahini.
Far too much.
Way too much tahini.
Ooh.
Way too much tahini.
By about how many millilitres would you say?
By like 94 millilitres.
Oh, 6 millilitres is the right amount of tahini.
I would say. No, like a spoonful maybe. Like a dessert tablespoon.
Right. Spoonful of tahini. But what about the can of chickpeas? Do you have a problem with canned chickpeas?
I don't have a problem with canned chickpeas.
Even if
People
they're in
work
brine?
Hard, they're busy. Well, don't get the ones in brine. Get the ones in water.
Why?
Because if you keep that water... Never mind, sling the chickpeas. You don't want the chickpeas.
This is going to be revolting, isn't it?
It's the water you want.
Nope. What is it?
People are discovering, vegans are discovering
Not really people.
that that if you harsh, fair, if you whip the water from a can of chickpeas, I know if you're half awake and thinking, "Is this some weird?" This is true.
Right.
It resembles egg white. It goes frothy, and you can whip it into meringues or macaroons, whatever you want.
Chickpea macaroons.
Yes,
Chickpea
it's a
meringues.
thing. People are making it. They call it aquafaba.
This now rings a bell. I think you may have mentioned this.
Bean water. I'm not lying.
Bean water?
Well, aquafaba.
Is that faba means bean?
Yeah, I think so. Well, like fava beans is like beans,
Oh,
beans,
I
isn't
see.
it?
Right, yeah. So, ooh.
Bean water.
Can you... Doesn't sound great at all.
Sounds lovely.
So
Come on,
you
eat
could
it.
separate...
Eat it. Huh?
You could separate a can of chickpeas,
Yeah.
put the chickpeas in
Into some hummus.
hummus
Yeah.
with only 6
Just
millilitres.
a spoonful. Tops.
A small spoonful. And then with the water, which you won't pour out the sink, you whip that up
You
and make that into
meringues.
meringue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
Bring
Anyway.
some in next week and we will do a taste test.
Maybe I will.
I think you ought.
Perhaps I shall. Perhaps I'll go, no, I ran out of time.
Yeah, you've been going on about your dried kale for a long time. Nobody's seen or heard any evidence.
Oh, I made a batch this week. I should have bought some.
Yeah. So you say.
Epicurious, right, which is a really massive website that does recipes and stuff. They posted a picture of they posted a hummus recipe,
Uh-huh.
It attracted so much ire. I mean, like forget like
From you or from other
like,
people as well?
legislation from Trump. Like you want to know about a Twitter storm? It's this hummus, right?
Mm.
It started when a guy called Liam Stack on Twitter said the hummus in that picture is going to be bad because it wasn't using chickpeas.
Oh,
It
what
was
are they using?
gigante beans.
Oh, I know what they are.
You
They're
know,
like
it's
big
like
baked
butter beans, right?
Yeah,
That's
not chick. That's
yeah.
not
He
hummus.
then says, "Get those gigante beans out of that hummus, you hip foodies." He doesn't like this. He's like, "A cup of gigante beans and 1 clove of garlic. Do no Lebanese people work at Epicurious?" He carries on. He's so angry. I like this guy. He says, "Hip American food culture has put hummus through so much." Also, the carefully composed picture here. Hip gigante beans, Pinterestable wood lemon juicer, and the olive oil that costs $7.49 on Amazon. And then a guy called House says, is that a lot or a little for olive oil?
I was just thinking the same.
And then Liam
actually.
says, I mean, it's the cheapest olive oil on Amazon Prime. It doesn't really go with the rest of the mindful twee aesthetic. He is so angry, Liam Stack.
Goodness.
House says, Roger that.
It's not your average Twitter storm, to be fair, the language being used here.
Okay, well, then Mordecai jumps in, says, that's not hummus. It's oppression. Bobby, thinking about it is honestly making me a little ill. Dina, good grief, that's a travesty.
Good grief, travesty.
Then a guy called Jesus says, yep, everyone knows you whip the tahini, olive oil and lemon juice before adding the chickpeas.
This couldn't get more middle class, could it?
That's how you get it fluffy. Whip up everything but the chickpeas for a minute or two, then add them.
Wow.
Okay. John says, needs peas. Benjamin, way too much garlic. Barno, hummus means chickpea. This is a bean dip. Nothing wrong with a bean dip.
I'm not sure these are quite as rage-filled as you're reading them out. The words don't sound that ragey. It's just you're reading them out with a lot of emphasis. They sound like it's quite a reasonable discussion.
Chaps, real hummus is... A guy called Chaps says, real hummus, not just chaps. Chaps.
That's what I thought you meant.
I must just check my diary. Oh, I've missed my window for asking about Philip Green. That was at 8:37. Now it's 8:38.
I've already told you about Philip Green.
Oh, good. Chaps says, real hummus is so easy to make. I've been doing it for decades with chickpeas. God help us. You know? Emily says, this is hilarious. Emily thinks it's a big joke. She thinks it's one big joke.
What does Emily know?
She says, this is hilarious. I noticed recently that Epicurious changed the photo on my favourite brisket recipe to a totally different kind of brisket. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just incredible.
So, what are your thoughts on it?
I agree. It's a bean dip. You can't call that hummus. I know what the secret ingredient is.
Oh no! Surely not.
I know how to make hummus incredible. I know what the secret ingredient is, but I'm sworn to secrecy. One of the producers here, Tamer, who works on The Real Hustle and now on Andy J's super revved up extension Fury or whatever it's called. It's a very good show if you haven't heard it. It's a motoring show. It's great. Yeah, he's told me what the secret ingredient is.
Is it rude?
No.
Okay.
No, I think no.
Is it spicy?
No.
Ooh.
But he swore me to secrecy.
Why? Why has he sworn you to secrecy?
Should I tell you?
Can I? Yes, you
should.
should.
I?
You should.
Should I tell you?
But why would he swear you to see? What was the purpose?
Because it's a code. It's a code among people. I think he's from Syria.
So not Lebanon.
No.
He may be then.
But there's a code, man. You can't break that. I'm his brother now. He's told me that. I can't break that code.
Can we all be your brother? You tell us. Go on.
I don't know. Should I tell you?
I think you should. What do you think, boys and girls? Should he tell us?
87222. Start your text message with the word talk, or you can tweet at Talk Radio. Still want your fantastic, not fantastics. Coming up after the break, though.
You haven't told us.
What?
You haven't told. Oh, we're waiting to see if people think that you should tell us before you're actually going to tell us. You think people are going to go, no, don't. Whatever you do, don't tell us.
I'm basically saying, should my word, my honour, be more important than making the most delicious creamy hummus you've ever tasted? That's what's up at stake here.
I see.
I
hadn't looked at
my
it like
personal moral integrity versus an out of this world.
Have you tried it? Can you confirm that the secret ingredient is as effective as he says?
I can't confirm it, but I do know that the most delicious hummus I ever tasted had it in.
Oh, curiouser and curiouser.
So you tell me, guys, my personal integrity or delicious hors d'oeuvres?
Tweet it as well at Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Hashtag delicious hors d'oeuvres.
Fine.
No, it's difficult to spell. Delicious hummus or just hummus.
Okay, Stephen Dixon, this is how it's done. Ready? Here comes the death breath. So that's hummus. Fantastic.
Don't do it.
We're going to be talking about slavery after the break.
It's Mr. Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven here, and you see, hummus is a contentious issue. I want to wish a very full-hearted congratulations to Matthew and Corinne, long-time listeners to this show, who got married this week, Laura.
Yes, congratulations to you
really
both.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that marriage hasn't changed them at all. Not at all. It's not as if Matthew has suddenly turned into the most cantankerous little... Here's the thing. He's tweeting and texting about hummus. He says... On Twitter, he says... maybe you could start a new radio show about hummus and perhaps talk about something funny or interesting on this one. Wow.
Harsh.
Then takes to his phone.
There's more.
To text. Saying, if you were to measure the number of, let's say, hoots, the number of hoots people don't give about your hummus recipe in time, you would need the TARDIS to get there. Charming.
I like the fact that he back-referenced the whole thing about million and billion that you mentioned earlier about the time. So that's pretty clever. Well done.
Kind of.
It's relevant.
Kind of.
It's a
kind
callback.
of. Just disgusting. Then,
there's more.
I would point out that 11 minutes ago, he tweeted, "We are growing chickpeas this year." Well, hang on a minute. You want me to care about your stupid chickpeas? And you don't care about my hummus? Hang on a second. Where's the altruism? Where's the esprit de corps, mate?
You two are perfect for each other, though, hummus and chickpeas, surely.
Chickpeas cost like 6p a silo. Why are you bothering? If you're going to grow something, you know what I mean?
What should you grow instead? What's more expensive
Something
to grow?
fun and exciting that tastes really good fresh.
Like?
Sweet corn.
Oh, love Yeah, yeah. Pig food, my mum used to call it.
Pig food?
Yep. It was my favourite food. Just corn on the cob, and she'd go, it's pig food.
Did she call you pig?
Not to my face, certainly.
Here you are, pig!
No, she said,
Here's your food, pig!
Actually, it might be my father.
Hello, pig!
Oh, I think I have issues.
And Nat asks, I have a can of baked beans here. Can I make hummus out of them as I don't have chickpeas? They're Heinz. Yeah, definitely. Why not? Just rinse them off. Keep the sauce, and you can actually turn it into a souffle. I'm sorry.
Jem doesn't want you to give your secrets away.
Yeah, I didn't know if I should reveal the secret ingredient in hummus that I was told by Tamer, a producer here. Yeah, go on. Who said that?
Jem did. I'm just finding his tweet where he accused, there was the phrase salacious whims. I'm going to find it right now and read it out. He says, yes, keep your hummus secrets, Jake. Don't bend to the salacious whims of radio ratings. And Laura,
Yeah.
I don't like being accused of having salacious whims. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm sure I haven't got
All
any.
right, pig! Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's so fun. Sorry. Also, Harry's, good morning. He's texted us saying, don't tell us, Jake. Keep the promise that you made with your friends.
There's nobody voting
That's adorable.
with me.
I love that. I love that.
He's
I
not
will
really a
keep
friend.
it.
He's not really a friend. He's just somebody you've met here.
No.
We're not friends.
I had sort of effected introductions to get him in here. Actually.
Oh, is he your actual
Yeah,
friend?
he's my actual friend.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I might ask him then.
Okay, fine. Anyway, I think that resolves the hummus business for now.
We will never know what the secret ingredient is.
You will never know. You will never. You ask Tamer. Tamer Asfahani is on Twitter. Death breath. I took a cab ride last week. I'm not proud of it, but I was very late. And we're driving along, right, through London, and we pull up beside this sort of yard, right? There's like a yard where there's people moving these massive slabs of just grey stone, right? And the driver goes, I know that stone. I'm like, sorry? He says, that's from my hometown. I'm like, what now? And he tells me this incredible story, right? He's from Ethiopia. And that stone is, it turns out it's marble, right? But it doesn't look, because it's not polished or anything. It's just slabs, right? Like lumps. He said, yeah. That stone, that specific stone has come from my hometown in Ethiopia. He said that tons of marble passed off as Italian is actually Ethiopian, but kind of bought in and sort of laundered, marble laundering, right? And he said that this guy, I'm not going to name the guy basically stole a mountain. He literally went to this place, mined it, took all the marble, took all the money, and gave the local people nothing, right? And the guy is a billionaire, multi-billionaire. And he's got mines and stuff and blah, 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 right? And he was saying, you know, he's left the local people with next to nothing. Lots of promises never fulfilled. So no regulation. And we sort of got into this conversation about slavery. And I sort of was asking him, do you feel that slavery in a way has now become localized? Instead of transporting people around the globe to go and do your work for you, you just find a way to take the work to those people and you trap them there, you know? So you build factories in poor areas where there's no other work and you've got people over a barrel. And he said, yes, I agree. So I thought we should talk to someone about slavery and find out what the hell is going on. I'm not even going to bother with the jingle because we haven't got that much time. It's Andrew Wallace. He's the founder and CEO of Unseen. It's a charity that wants to end slavery around the world. Good morning.
Morning, Jake.
Good morning. Is that a fair thing to say? Has slavery become kind of localized?
It's both localized and global. So there isn't a country in the world that isn't affected by the issue now, including the UK. And in the UK last year, we saw victims from 102 different nationalities. You know,
around the world or in the UK?
102 different nationalities in the UK.
In the UK?
In the UK. So,
doing what? Where? How?
So it is. I mean, in essence, what slavery is it's a trade in people. The person is turned into a commodity, and then they're bought, sold, and exploited. And that can either be in labor exploitation, or domestic servitude, or forced criminality, or sexual exploitation. and at the most gruesome end, removal of organs for profit.
What?
So, that's the shocking reality of the UK in the 21st century and the globe in the 21st century. That you and I grew up being told Wilberforce had ended slavery 200 plus years ago, and it's come roaring back.
What's the scale of slavery?
Globally, the estimates now are that the International Labour Organization, which is part of the UN, and they're always very conservative with their figures, they talk about 21 million people in forced labour, and then the Global Slavery Index talk about 46 million people in total. I think most experts around the globe would say, it's very hard to get hard and fast data on there, and probably the numbers are higher. In the UK, the Home Office 3 or 4 years ago talked about at any one time between 10 and 13,000 people held in slavery. I think national policing now say you could probably double that number, and I've talked to police officers and others up and down the country, and you could probably multiply that number by 5, possibly 10. So somewhere between 50 and 100,000 people in the UK.
And how does that fare compared to the rest of the world? Are we got more abusers here than the other countries?
No, I mean we're low in terms of sort of ranking in sheer numbers. In sheer numbers, you're seeing vast numbers in India, in parts of Africa, and parts of Southeast Asia. And in India, you've got issues around bonded labour, so that's people sort of born into debt, and then they spend their whole life trying to pay off a debt that has never been able to be paid off. So, yes, the numbers are relatively small in the UK, but, 50 to 100,000 people being forced to do things against their will, receiving little or no pay, and people profiting off their hard labour and their sweat and their tears.
In a way, how and where do you delineate what constitutes slavery? Because I feel like, we hear about factories in Bangladesh or South America where people are kind of trapped in a poverty cycle, and is that slavery? Could you argue it's slavery where they have to sign punitive contracts because there's literally nothing else around?
There's two issues to that. One, again, the ILO talk about the principle of decent work, and what they mean by that is that you are paid a commensurate, appropriate wage for that job that enables you to sort of, not hugely possible, but be economically resilient in that whole process. What we find around the globe is, the globe is on the move, is that often people have to pay a recruiter to get them to that job, and they have to pay all the transportation to get them to that job. So when they start that job, they're in debt, and then that recruiter begins to control them and then sort of deducts for everything, like accommodation and clothing, etc., that they need for that job. So they fall further and further into debt bondage and control. My daughter, jokes with me that, that she's a slave, because she's working a job that is minimum wage. And I said, yes, it's not great working on minimum wage, but you're free to walk away from that job whenever you want. You can hand your notice in and leave. If you're trapped, you can't leave. And it may be you're trapped because of debt, or on top of that, there's probably threats against your family back home, or you've seen others around you beaten up when they've tried to speak out and complain about the situation. So you just feel more and more trapped in that situation and not free to leave. And then to compound it on top of that, and we only go back 4 years, we had the Rana Plaza disaster, you're working in a hazardous environment. Yeah. So your life is at risk.
And when you get things like, you hear these stories about American prisons where prisoners are now doing work for big corporations.
Oh, yep.
Is that slavery?
Is it included in the slavery figures? It isn't, is it?
Not. It's not around that. And I think you would have governments arguing that it's part. Their argument would be it's part of the sort of the recompense for the crimes they committed, and also it's to keep that sort of work ethic going so that they can deal with it when they get out of jail. The problem with the Americans' jail system is many of those are lifers and they're never going to get out of there, and what options have they got in that whole process? So I think there's some questionable moral ethics around that. But we're talking about people certainly in the UK and around the globe that are often just hidden in plain sight. So, back to your taxi ride, you probably went past a whole bunch of these hand car washes, and on the other side of the high street there were some nail bars.
Yeah.
And often we find in those situations, and in anywhere where you haven't got a regulated workforce, that's where we find exploitation taking place.
Crikey. What's the sort of worth to the British economy of slavery, would you say, today?
I don't think we've worked out yet what it's worth at a UK level. I mean, we know globally the profits are at least $150 billion per annum. Let me put that into context. That's more than the profits of Apple, Microsoft, Vodafone, Exxon, BP, and on and on and on. It's just a vast industry. So it's probably going to overtake drugs in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of the most profitable criminal activity that's taking place. So it's a huge amount of money that's sloshing around the globe, and a huge amount of money that's sloshing around the UK, and it's in the grey economy.
Yeah.
And it's ultimately it's driven by you and me.
Yeah.
And our demand for cheap, whether it's cheap goods or cheap services or cheap labour or cheap sex or cheap organs. We create the demand, and there's an endless supply, around the world of vulnerable, poor people on the move, people wanting to try and, better their lives.
Yeah.
And the slave masters prey on that.
Andrew, we have to leave it there. We've overrun horribly. If people want to find out more about the work you do, where should they go?
They can go to our website, unseenuk.org, or if they see anything that they're suspicious of, they can call the Modern Slavery Helpline on 08000 121 700.
That's fantastic. Will you come and talk to us again? I think there's more to explore. Thanks so much. That was Andrew Wallace. We'll be back after this.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Mr. Jake Yapp's entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven here until 11 o'clock. After that, Paul Ross is live with a general election special. So, see, some people just can't leave the hummus alone. We talked about slavery, massive issue, global issue. Nothing. Got like 1 or 2 texts. Hummus?
It's an emotive subject. People feel strongly about hummus. I know you feel strongly about hummus. Well,
I do feel very... Someone's posted a picture of... Jem posted a picture of beetroot hummus. That's not... No.
I like beetroot. I like hummus, but I don't think the two should go together.
It's kinky. It's deviant. It's deviant. Your hummus is deviant. There, I said it. And Matthew, who obviously can't leave his chickpeas alone, says, I'm off to tend my chickpeas. Then I might pop out into the garden. Oh.
Well, he did mention that it's World Naked Gardening Day. I don't know if that's true or not. Is that true? Should have done the research before I said it out loud.
I don't know.
It's a bit cold for World Naked Gardening Day.
I don't know.
Surely that would happen in like July or August on a practical level.
I don't. Just not in pruning season. That's all that matters. We were talking about things that have been fantastic, not fantastic, and we have got some. But I kind of wanted to launch another thing, right?
Okay, launch another thing.
What the heck? Let's just throw it all out there. This is from Daily Star on Sunday. Oh, Laura, listen to this. Star's Vegas party.
I love a Star's
Imagine
Vegas
this. Rapper Snoop Dogg, one of your favourites.
Yeah, I love him.
Is planning a big weekend of partying in Las Vegas. Fresh idea. It's book week here in Las Vegas. No. Big weekend of partying in Las Vegas with VIP buddies Simon Cowell and David Beckham.
What a combination.
I mean, it just doesn't get any better, right? The hip-hop star, 45.
That's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, right. Wants them to have wild nights out, just like in the hit film The Hangover. He dubbed Simon and Bex as his favourite bad bottom Brits.
Bad what?
Bottom is family show.
Oh, I see. Right, I understand now.
Yeah. And it got me to thinking, given that is arguably the worst party imaginable, Who would be your absolute worst dinner party guest? Because we always play that game. Ooh, dream dinner party. Who would be the worst?
Who'd be your worst?
Worst dinner party guests? Oh my God, a name came in my head and I can't say it.
Oh,
I
go
can't.
on, say it.
I can't. I just
no,
can't.
you
I
can.
absolutely
you
can't.
must, though. You must.
I can't. I literally
Is it somebody
can't.
who works
All right,
on this
look, I'll
station?
write it down and then you'll see why I can't say it.
Okay. Oh, why not? You can say
No,
it.
you can't say that.
You can
No,
say that.
absolutely not.
You're not saying anything
If you
horrible
say it,
about
I will
that
dump
person.
you.
No,
I will
won't
dump
say
you.
because it's your choice. But why can't you say that?
You definitely can't say that.
Well, because that person is considered to be above...
Beyond reproach.
That's nonsense.
You can't say that.
Oh, my God.
Who would be your worst dinner party guest? 87222 start your text message with the word talk. I've literally given myself a burst of adrenaline.
I think you should say that because I'm sure you could say it'd be really nice at the same time.
No. Worst dinner party guest.
Yeah, no, but, you know,
absolutely
there's
not,
so
Laura.
many features.
Laura, you have such... No. Okay, let's think of one that we can broadcast. I should have thought of this beforehand, really. I would say Snoop Dogg, Simon Cowell and David Beckham.
I'll cop out.
I've heard David Beckham's actually really, really nice guy.
He sounded quite good on Desert
he's
Island
a good
Discs,
laugh.
which I listened to
Yeah.
recently. He sounded all right.
I think I might struggle with any of the Rees-Moggs,
Right, yes.
potentially.
We weren't going to do politics,
No,
though, were
sorry,
we? We're
that
not
was the
allowed
point.
to
We
do
shouldn't do
politics
politics.
because
We
it's an
shouldn't do
election
politics.
period.
I think Nicholas Witchell.
Why? What's the matter with him?
Oh,
What?
he's the royal correspondent, isn't he?
Yes, possibly.
And I've heard that the royals, they're not crazy about him. That's what imagine that, just following them around, this family that are like, oh.
But he might have some good goss, some dirty, juicy gossip.
No.
Yeah.
No. Any footballer for obvious reasons.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, if they do start talking about football. I have to say, I wouldn't be very keen on having Mel and Sue at my dinner party. All the quips and innuendos would drive me up the wall, especially about the food. So
Really?
yeah, God, stop now.
But at a dinner party,
Yeah, talking if it was somewhere else, maybe
after a couple of proseccos, like it
I
wouldn't
would want
be
to punch
double
them.
entendres. You'd be down to singles, and it would be fun because
Oh, yes,
they'd
possibly.
probably start being absolutely filthy.
if they could promise me that they could, maybe dish the dirt a bit and none of this sort of twee, coy stuff, then yes, absolutely, because they're funny, witty ladies. But it's all this sort of, I don't know, sort of seaside postcard stuff that they do on Bake Off would just drive me mental.
I think I'd have Michael Ignatieff, circa 1991. He was
No, not him.
He was like a culture. He was always on the Culture Show. He was this Canadian guy who went, "Good evening."
Yeah, I vaguely remember
That's
him
so
actually.
niche. I can't even believe I'm.
Who else would be bad to? Just trying to think. Ozzy Osbourne. I
Yeah,
think-
that might. Yeah,
I don't
Some
know.
people would be like, "Oh, legend. He'd have some stories." To like,
No, I don't think
"Oh."
he remembers any of the good stuff, and also
Yeah.
he'd probably be somebody who has to really watch what he eats these days.
Yeah, actually, any of those sort of adventurers and explorers who just believe that their life has been more fascinating than anybody else's, and they'll reel off interesting anecdotes, but actually
That they've done it a million times before,
Yeah.
and it's pre-prepared. And all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite hard. No,
Yeah.
Matthew's Bear
Matthew,
Grylls.
Bear
He'd be
Grylls-
your worst or your best. You'd want him.
Yeah.
Why would you, Matthew? Come in here. Come in here, Matthew. Matthew, heel. Matthew's our new producer.
Yep. Well, he was our old producer, and now he's back again. So
Yeah, he's literally old and new, and borrowed
and
A
young.
little bit blue.
yeah.
Don't be
You'd
blue on
have
the show,
Bear
though.
Grylls.
I think he's great. Have you seen The Island with Bear Grylls?
Yes, we reviewed it on this very show. Whew.
I mean, the thing is, you'd be like, Prosecco, or we've got some beer if you want some beer. No, just a cup. Sort myself out. Like, really? You can't, like, why would you do that? Oh.
He'd be full of interesting facts, though. I
Yes,
suppose.
but that's all he'd be able to do is by rote tell you those anecdotes. He wouldn't be able to converse.
Well, would you like to? Would somebody better be like a proper professional interviewer? I bet Graham Norton would be brilliant, mind you.
Graham Norton
he's
would be
lovely.
fabulous. He would be fabulous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Somebody who knows how to ask and listen.
Supposedly, method actors can be quite boring sometimes.
You announced that as if that might be something we would never have thought of before. Yeah,
I would say actors,
actors. Yeah,
generally. I mean, if you can't think of your own words.
some actors are quite fun, and Stephen Mangan looks like he'd be a laugh. You know who he is, the dark guy.
Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah.
There's sometimes some of them that no. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, not actors per se,
but he's kind of a semi-comedian, isn't he, Stephen Mangan?
Yeah, he's quite funny.
I don't know. I think you've got to look at. It's those people. It's the arrogant. The historian, Dr. David Starkey. He would be the worst because he would sit there spouting his somewhat controversial views and saying, "Well, actually, I think we'll find in the Jacobean times." And then he'd tell me I didn't pronounce Jacobean right.
Well, anybody who says, "Oh, actually, I think you'll find," that they're all gone. I don't want them.
Anyone that claps when a plane lands.
That's a good one. That's a nice tangent. You're absolutely right.
Well.
Oh, you've clapped.
Have you clapped?
No,
You're a
never.
clapper.
Never. I
You
never
clapper.
clap. Mind you, I have landed in the position, in the brace position, and we clapped then when we landed.
Yes. Oh, I bet you clapped yourself.
Yes. A lot of people. There was a lot of clapping going on at
everybody,
that point. Yeah.
Everybody clapped.
Yes.
That's why they have those vinyl seats now, isn't it?
It just slides off.
Yeah, just all the clap. That's a good one. 87222. Start your text message with the word talk, or you can tweet at Talk Radio. Who would you least like to have at your dinner party? And we are trying to steer away from politics for
Got one here.
compliance reasons. Yes.
From Jem. Jem says, worst dinner party guest, Brian Blessed, end up deafened and anecdoted out, having not spoken for 2 hours. Good call.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Although I've heard that Brian Blessed is quite a nice chap, but of course, you ask him a question and he may go on and on and on very loudly.
I've heard like he's non-stop. Like with Brian Blessed, when you hire Brian Blessed, you get Brian Blessed. There's none of that sort of
on
off.
Like
some people they come in and they stagger about. Like I worked with Alan Carr once, and he came in and he was like, just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know, yeah, yeah, through here, okay, sit down, yeah, we're starting the show now, Alan. Okay, yeah, all right, just a minute, and the music's starting. Oh, hello, it's me, Alan Carr. Yeah, and
very good.
Yeah, he was just on, bang.
Yeah,
but before then he was.
Yeah, actually, there's a few comedians I know who don't ever switch off, and I would not want to be at a dinner party with them. I've been on long car journeys with certain people, just go, oh, never again. I mean, they're perfectly nice people, but it's the energy level is a bit too much.
Yeah. Chris on Twitter, hi Chris, says he would choose born-again vegans who then tell you about their recent ski trip.
Oh.
I'm like, who is this person?
It's not
Chris?
you
This is
anyway.
you need to start naming names.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously a person.
That's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
people with special food needs who don't maybe tell you until maybe they get there or go on and on about it.
Yeah. Vegans are now coming in for quite a kick. I hadn't really anticipated where this would go, of course. Michael says, I'm sorry, Jake, but my worst dinner party guest would have to be you. All that vegan cobblers. If you think I'm opening a tin of peas, especially for you, forget it.
Oh, they don't know how much fun it is to sit next to you and listen to your stories and stuff. That's nonsense. The vegan thing is nothing, not to be considered.
James would go for Peter O'Bourne.
Oh, really?
Morning, James. Yeah.
Oh.
Got to argue with that.
Always pleasant on the phone, though.
He's great. He's a fantastic contributor.
Well, he is pleasant on the phone until he gets to the end of the phone conversation. Then all of a sudden...
What was it he called me?
He called you a stupid idiot or something.
Yeah, he called me an idiot, right? That's like a badge of honour for me. I love that. Someone else that will be attempting to provoke into calling me an idiot is Charlie Wolf. He's going to be talking about 100 Days of Trump after this.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Yes, very good morning to you. It's Jake Yapp and Laura Shaven, and I forgot to play a bed. Here's one. You can still keep your fantastic, not fantastic things coming in. What's happened to you this week that's been fantastic and also not fantastic? If you weren't here at 8 o'clock when I explained why, I'll explain later. It's long and tedious. It's not tedious, it's quite funny. And also your worst dinner party guests. Had some great suggestions, I have to say. Nat suggests Kim Woodburn.
As in Kim and Aggie, the tidy people.
Yeah. Spidey. Spencer and Heidi from Big Brother.
Oh, I don't know.
And Jedward.
Jedward.
That might be, yeah.
Oh, you got some good Jedward
I
material.
can't eat quinoa. What's quinoa? No. What's quinoa? Can I eat nuggets? Have you got any nuggets? Yeah, have you got any nuggets? We want some nuggets. We're going upstairs now to look at the mirror and... Never mind. There was another one. Corrine says, Andy Parsons. Andy Parsons.
Really?
Andy Parsons. He only needs to start his long-winded, funny stories, punctuated with needless pauses, to have me wanting to throw pasta at him.
It's quite a specific thing to want to throw him. Andy Parsons pasta.
And then Hedy says, worst dinner party guests, Roger McGough, Alan Bennett, and that Richard Coles. I think it's Rev Richard Coles, not that. The triumvirate of boredom and smuggery. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Well, you did ask.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Do you not? Presumably you disagree with those three.
I love Rev Richard Coles. It's wonderful, and we really want to see you painting your hearts out. Okay.
Do Alan
did
Bennett?
No, I can't. I don't do impressions. It's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, is it?
Fine. Let's talk about something proper. Let's talk about the first 100 days of Donald Trump. This is always a milestone in a presidency, and we're going to be talking to Charlie Wolf, a political commentator who joins us on the line now. Good morning.
Morning, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Happy 100 days. Happy 100 days.
Happy centenary. I don't know.
You have a cake yesterday.
This is always a milestone, isn't it, for a president? The first 100 days, punctuated by no.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. It really. Well, it's an arbitrary number. Yes, it's a nice round number. But I mean, do you want to really be judged for the rest of your life on the like for instance, as a parent? Would you want to say, okay, you've been a mother or father for 100 days. This is how your kid's going to turn out based on that. It doesn't quite work like that. But that said,
yeah,
he made a deal of it as well, so therefore he owns it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's fair to expect too much of a newborn baby compared to a guy in his 70s who's got, a lot of executive power.
I was talking about the parent. This is you as a parent in 100. If you can't get your kids right, in the first 100 days, that just reflects on, you've ruined them. It's your fault.
Actually, Charlie, I think I nailed it. I didn't really. So a bit of controversy this weekend because it was the press dinner, wasn't it? Which he did not attend. He went to a rally in Raleigh.
To show you the power of the president, and I love that press dinner. I usually try and watch the correspondence dinner every time it's on because it's generally very funny jokes and it raises money for charity. I didn't even realize it was only about 10 seconds before coming on air. I flipped up that big network that takes lots of our license fee money and is represented by three letters, two of which are repeated.
Yeah.
And
big
there
fan,
was the story
big fan.
there was the story.
Got to love Doctor Who, though, haven't you? Got to love Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's three letters too. And I didn't even realize that the correspondence was on. Totally, it's like who cares? Who honestly cares? There's some comedian I've never heard of, so who cares? So
right.
If Trump had been there, they would have raised a lot of money, but. Listen, he says, why should I, put up with this? And I don't blame him.
Do you not think, it's kind of like Liberace? Liberace, he was once,
Okay.
he was interviewed and someone said, how do you feel when people say that, your piano playing is a bit schlocky and a bit schmaltzy and stuff and that you haven't really got that much credibility as a musician and all the rest of it? And he just smiled and said, I cry all the way to the bank. And, the president is the president of the United States. Surely you can take a bit of ribbing.
Yeah, well, no, it was taking a ribbing, but I think, the press, and it's more than just the jokes. I mean, we can all take it. I get my hate mail and my jokes and all that, and it's fine. But they have done everything to stand in the guy's way. I mean, it's beyond reporting and criticizing and being skeptical. There's a sort of cynicism. And passing of this is what the whole fake news thing I think is about. And I don't like the term fake news, to be honest, but I think there's this sort of narrative. Just even hyperbole. For instance, I was at a comedy night the other night with some very funny people. Nick Revel was there, and I listen. I'm not taking it's not necessarily criticism on comedians. I think they're damn funny. But the way some people were talking, you would think it was the end of the world.
Well, hang on. I think you can't start one sentence talking about news and fake news and then go straight into a comedy night. I mean, they're very different beasts, or should be.
But when you talk to the general public, even there's this sort of delusion. Listen, criticize the guy, sure, but I just find it kind of like a disconnect when we're going on about he's mad, he's this, he's whatever, and we're trying to deal with Kim Jong-un. There are real evil people in the world, and he at least is facing up to them.
So are you like with that correspondence dinner with Obama? I remember it and I watched it and it was quite funny. But you're right. There's no two ways about it. The press were fond of Obama, right?
Yeah.
And they're not fond of Donald Trump, right?
They respected Obama. They don't respect Trump.
I think that's fair. We're generalizing, but let's just call it right. In a way, though, could you not say, well, actually, it was too cozy with Obama. It was too cozy. They were too forgiving. And isn't it
Chris Matthews of the thrill ran up my leg. The job of the press is to report the news fairly and straight on.
So wouldn't it be better?
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Isn't it better that there's something a bit adversarial between the press and the president now? Because their job is to hold him to account, and perhaps they didn't do that adequately with Obama.
That's fair, but I think, and I agree 100%, but I think sometimes that the press takes this sort of, they go, it's not fair. I mean, they're just as too far to the one way with, with Trump as they were too far the other way with Obama. All right. It should be fair. And it should be, like, for instance, I remember some of the stories I see. There's one the other day, or it goes back about 2-3 weeks, and it says, when Trump came to White House, first meal was a steak at one of his hotels, $57 steak. It's like, he's not tasting some of the great, cuisine we have in Washington. Therefore, he's closed-minded. We get, 30 psychiatrists at Yale have diagnosed the guy as being crazy and unfit to hold office. And it's like, all right, that's not the press. But, you're listening to this stuff. You're saying, come on, guys, give us some real news.
Let's talk about his first 100 days. Now, in his rally, I think one of the achievements that he talked about from his first 100 days was he had grown optimism. And do you think that's fair? Also, is that necessarily a good thing? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think especially in the economic optimism, economic confidence. I'm not an expert in economics, but I'm a fan and a student of, and that's such an important thing. And I don't know how you measure it, and it's not a concrete number. But without economic confidence, people won't invest, they won't do, and it just shut up. Look at the market. The market's been booming, and I've been talking to some economists I know. Very top people, and they say that this could go on for 20 years. So that's come back. People are starting to invest again.
It could go on for 20 years, but that could be argued as being the same kind of blind speculation that the press have been making about everything else. Do you feel like with the news and the whole fake news thing, have we reached a point where news has been devalued so much by all and sundry, not just by Trump?
Yeah.
That because now there's kind of no such thing as a fact anymore. They just don't really exist anymore. And so people are now in a kind of weird sort of faith-based news cycle where they're literally saying, well, this is all bogus to me, so I'm going to electively believe this, even though I know that it's not necessarily right. I'm just going to believe it because I have no, why not? I might as well.
You're not that. You're smarter than you sound. No, but no,
thanks.
That's a very deep, and you're really onto something. I've studied this for years. If I can get my butt down into gear and write a book, this is what I want to write about, is this use of narrative, your facts, my facts. If you ever want to read, it's a very heavy book, it's a very deep book. It's called...
Not sort of book you want to drop on your foot.
Closing of the American Mind by Alan Bloom came out in 1984. He was talking about how sort of this liberal education in the States was so bad that people were no longer being able to think for themselves and to question. And so now they believe any kind of crap that comes out there. And again, they'll go to their sites. Others will go, it's all an echo chamber. And then the other thing you have is, again, narrative. And I've seen this mainly, in the animal rights people, Middle East. Climate change is totally a narrative thing. And that's not to say there's not an argument one way or the other on it. But when you get things like, you're a denier, or the famous, 97% of all the scientists, that wasn't true.
Okay. We're straight,
into question. I realize, but I'm just saying there's a large.
I'm going to accept.
It all fits in.
I'm going to accept, Charlie, that's the fact that you believe. There we go.
Yes.
We have to leave it there. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thanks, Jake.
Take care. That was Charlie Wolf, American political commentator. Laura, do you think we live in an echo chamber?
I do a bit, I'm afraid.
Echo chamber?
Oh, I see what you
Echo. That's not worth it, was it? We're going to be talking about one of the greatest cartoonists of all time after this.
It's Mr. Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Fantastic. Not fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about this.
He wrote this morning in the office before we came in.
Yes, and can't you tell?
Fantastic.
It's marvellous. You did it while most of us were looking through newspapers going, what's in the news?
Yeah.
And
then forgot to play it on air. It's
Yeah.
just so stupid. So we want your fantastic, not fantastic tweets, please. Following Sky Stephen on Sky News this morning, just after 6, had to segue from the Klitschko-Anthony fight into the story about Madeleine McCann, and did it by saying, that fight was absolutely fantastic. What's not fantastic is it's 10 years since the disappearance of her. It was quite a moment. So I did this jingle, fantastic, not fantastic. What's happened to you in the last week or so that's been fantastic and not fantastic? Rebecca says, hi Jake and Laura, I'm a bit late to be awake today. Did I miss much? No. Here's mine. Fantastic. I got a job at Battersea Dogs Home.
Oh, congratulations.
What is not fantastic is my washing machine broke and needs to be replaced, which is very expensive.
Oh.
Thank you very much for that.
But well done getting the job.
Yeah, that's great. It's fantastic, in fact. 87222, start your text message with the word talk, or you can tweet at Talk Radio with your fantastic, not fantastic news, just as an excuse to play this jingle again.
Fantastic.
Not annoying at all, though. We keep listening to it.
It goes in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It goes in. I think Matt is already being traumatised by that one.
He nods through the glass.
Now, what was not fantastic this week, Laura, was... No, it was really sad. A great hero of mine, Leo Baxendale, passed away. He was, I think, pretty much the greatest cartoonist of all time. He did lots of pioneering work in the Beano. He started in the 50s and carried on working for decades. Had, I think, quite a troubled time of it. It was hard for him.
Really?
He was a proper artist, yeah, and did really beautiful work. And I met him a couple of times. I met him at he was at some comics convention or something, and I was so excited that I went there and I met him
specifically to meet him.
Yeah, I bought a copy of Willie the Kid, which was an annual he did, and he signed it for me. It was like 1991. And I also bought this. He wrote a really fascinating book called On Comedy. The Beano and Ideology.
So he wasn't just the illustrator, he actually did the gags too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he's deeply, deeply analytical about comedy. We'll talk about it in a second. Let's talk to Anthony Smith. He's from the Cartoonist Club of Great Britain and a cartoonist, and joins us now. Hi.
Hi, yeah, no, it's very sad actually, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, the thing about Leo Baxendale, there was sort of a different dimension to his work, and visually and in terms of the storytelling. That really came through. He had a kind of, I think he sort of imbued everything with this kind of really anarchic sort of crazy sort of structure, but at the same time, they were very sort of cleverly woven stories, and with proper sort of, I think he stood out really amongst other sort of, artists who were very good as well. But I think there was something about Leo Baxendale stuff that was just he had that little dimension to him that was that transcended the other artists. And it's very sad.
Which strips did he illustrate? Which ones was he responsible for?
Well, a whole bunch. I mean, of the Beano, he did things like the Bash Street Kids, of course, which originally started as the Bell Rings, When the Bell Rings, and the Three Bears, Minnie the Minx, Little Plum.
Oh, yeah.
And then he went off to the Beezer, and he did stuff like the Banana Bunch, and he did some,
was he at Whizzer and Chips? Right.
No. He did Whizzer and Chips. Yeah. Smash was one that he did. He had a couple of really one character I loved called Grimly Fiendish, who was this kind of sort of
that rings a bell.
Villainous character in a black sort of coat. So he worked for quite a few publications, and later in life he did. He sort of did his own publishing ventures, and he did stuff, as you mentioned, Willie the Kid.
Yeah.
He did a book called Throop, which was...
yeah, that's right.
He did a whole bunch of stuff. I think he fell out with the Beano, really, because they... he basically... It's an ongoing thing, but really... it was back then, but, you sort of sold away your rights, really, when you worked for publications.
Yeah.
And,
he wasn't allowed to put his name on his work, was he? That was the thing.
Well, I think the tradition then was that you didn't. But the funny thing about Leo Baxendale was, I speak to other cartoonists and stuff, and the thing was, we all sort of had almost that light bulb moment when we were younger, when we sort of realised, oh, who's this guy? This guy's sort of funny. He does little funny things in the background. And there's all this clever stuff going on. And so you started to sort of think, oh, well, I'll look out for that artist as opposed to that cartoon thing.
Yeah, it was in a different league, I think. And he never kind of had the attitude of, oh, well, that's good enough. There's a great story in one of his books about he's working with, I think, the editor of the Beano, and he's quite early on, and he had spent hours doing a final frame of one of his strips, and it was like a big frame of, I think it was the Bash Street Kids, where they were all covered in, I think, coal dust, and he'd pointillism, hand dotted all of these sort of smoke particles and coal dust and stuff. And it had taken him hours and hours and hours and hours. And the editor looked at it and said to him, this is good. I mean, this is really good. You don't have to do this, But, I think his argument was, yes, I do. I can't do it any other way. And that's a sort of recurrent theme for him was he couldn't leave it alone. He was an artist. He had to make it as good as he could.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. I mean, he over-delivered in every sort of aspect of his work, really. At a time when, really, he would have been hugely burdened with a workload. I mean, at the Beano, he was really churning it out. I think that led to him actually sort of knocking it on the head earlier, and moving on, because he just got burned out. But he completely over-delivered. A page of his artwork. I've seen the originals. The scale he works at, they're really small, and tiny little details in the background, which you really didn't have to, in a way. Yeah.
There'd be little sort of subplots, wouldn't there, in his comic strips, little tiny snails or something doing things. And
Exactly, yeah. Little gags that, if you were, whatever age you were, really, but, things that you'd look out for and, would be, as you say, little subplots or little amusing sidelines that you think, I'm glad I spotted that. So it was absolutely fantastic. And there's so many cartoonists, now that I think have been... incredibly influenced by him in the UK. Yeah. I think it's a shame that I think, he was very much, a UK artist. I don't know how popular he is in other countries, as it were, but he was sort of quintessentially English or British in a way, because he had this kind of, his whole kind of an anarchic sort of, stuff to do with school and all the rest of it. There's something quintessentially British about it, really.
Jake mentioned that he had a troubled life. What was that about?
Well, he might know better than I did. I know that he sort of fell out with D.C. Thompson in the sense that he was always a bit, he had to fight a long legal battle in the sense that, they, at the time, you just signed away the characters. They weren't owned by you. Yeah. I know they actually, he sort of had a settlement regarding that. Beyond that, I don't really know.
I think it was that he did get quite burnt out. He found the workload quite crippling. He was doing something like 3.5 pages a week at one point, and that's 3 stories that you then got to illustrate. It's an awful lot of work.
Yeah. But mind you, having said that, I know that there was a period when he just completely, you're right, he just completely sort of shut down, as it were. Yeah. But then he bounced back very quickly, and that's when he worked for publications. When he came up with a whole bunch of different characters like Sweeney Toddler for the Beezer and so on. So he and the Banana Bunch. So he actually sort of. I think it was a temporary blip when he actually when he sort of got burned out, and then obviously retired a little while ago. But he had an incredibly prolific career, and the characters he created, many of them are still about. Yeah, and mainstreams at the things like the Beano and so on, which is still going. So he had an incredible output really in his career.
Yeah, an amazing body of work. We have to leave it there. Thanks so much for talking to us today.
No problem. Yeah, no, it's very sad, actually. It's very sad.
Yeah, end of an era. Thanks very much. That was Anthony Smith from the Cartoonist Club of Great Britain. It's just fabulous. I've got some prints of his. He did some really big prints, and they're just... There's something very alive and wibbly about his pictures. He always had those little motion lines, everything was sort of
yes.
trembling and quivering with sort of excitement on every page. Just gorgeous stuff. We will miss him.
Yes.
Lovely man, Leo Baxendale.
It's Mr. Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's about 35 minutes now until Paul Ross will be here with his election special. Are you enjoying his election?
I love his election.
Yeah, me too.
You know me.
Yeah, well...
Not in that way, obviously.
Yeah, well, now, if you've sort of enjoyed this show at all, if it's past time for you, why don't you check out the podcast?
Yeah. Where would they find that, Jake?
Well, they just have to search for Jake Yapp's Sunday Best. And it should show up wherever they get their podcasts from.
And what do they do when they find it?
They subscribe and they like it and give it all the reviews.
Yeah, they get a chance of how many stars. You must click on the far right one.
2 stars.
5. No, we don't.
No, we don't have. At least 2 would be great.
And if you have anything funny to write about how marvellous you think it is, or even if you don't think it's good, write it. We need reviews. We've got no reviews.
Okay. There you go.
Reviews.
Laura knows that this is important and I don't. Anyway, the nice thing about the podcast, obviously, is that you can still join in with these conversations. We have an open door policy here, and if you want to pick up any threads from previous shows, well, why not? Why not? You can email us. That's the point. It's jake.yapp, Y-A-P-P, at talkradio.co.uk. And Dan emailed us this week, Laura.
Yes, he tweeted as much, but I haven't, because I don't have access to the email account, Dan. I can't see.
No, it's fine. He knew that. He knew that.
Oh, really? Why? How do you know that?
Because he says, please tell Laura.
Ah.
Okay. It's okay. You're not always in his thoughts. Always.
Okay.
Dear Jake, if all goes to plan, I will live text or even call from the book fair I'll be working on Sunday.
You didn't?
No, it's not gone to plan. Please tell Laura that these were the best photos I could manage on my phone, as I had to sneak up a private road and not get spotted taking them. What do you think he's taking photos of, Laura?
I happen to know what he's taking photos of, but you have to make it sound really seedy and nasty.
It's just out of context. So it's a pony, isn't it? A little
foal.
Is it a Shetland pony and the foal?
Yes, he said there was one. They said, oh no, there's 2.
Yeah, he said it was the size of a dog, a little dog. This foal.
Oh.
And he says one is so close to the mum that you can hardly spot it. Anyway, I've got one of the pictures. I printed it out for you to have a look at.
Can I have a look? Oh,
yeah.
Lovely.
Yours in ex-Batmobile fraternity, Dan. He's finally let go of the Batmobile. He took even longer than I did.
Oh, so sweet.
There you go.
Oh,
that's the dividend. That's the payoff right there. In fact, you should show it to the camera, because I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to put this on YouTube, right?
Is that in front of the camera?
Yeah, go closer. Down a bit. That's it.
There. Oh, I love baby animals.
Yeah, I'm going to put the show on YouTube as well as the podcast. That's just the thing I'm going to do.
Yep.
What the heck? Management's away until tomorrow. So, incidentally, I'll be here tomorrow. I'm covering for John Holmes.
Oh, you're not, are you?
Yeah.
God, you're never off the radio. Are you doing the whole? Are you just doing Monday, or are you doing the whole week?
I think I'm doing the whole week. Yeah.
Goodness me.
But I wanted to talk quickly about this thing, the Fyre Festival. I didn't really know what this... I sort of saw it, kind of people were talking about it online, like on social media and stuff. The Fyre, F-Y-R-E. And it's a luxury music weekend. Did you hear about this?
I did. It's somewhere like the Bahamas or somewhere in the Caribbean.
The Bahamas, that's absolutely right. Ja Rule was one of the founders of the Fyre Festival. And it descended into absolute chaos.
Yes.
So it was supposed to be famous models on yachts, exclusive island once owned by Pablo Escobar, Blink 182. Blink 182? Well, now I'm in. How fresh, how contemporary. So,
and how much were the tickets?
Thousands. Weekend ticket packages started at £1,200 and topped 6 figures with extras.
Not those kind of extras, Jake.
No.
Musical extras.
Access.
You get to pay the tambourine.
Extras. You literally get people having muted conversations behind you. Do you want extras? Yeah. I was in EastEnders once. Yeah. So anyway, when guests arrived on the island, they found something closer to Survivor. It was literally like Red Cross tents and stuff. It was
not Survivor who did Eye of the Tiger.
No, as in the TV show.
Right.
Where you have to...
survive on an island.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not one thing that was promised on the website was delivered, said Shivi Kumar.
Who was American, apparently.
Yeah, they paid £3,500 for 4 king-size beds and a chic living room lounge. Instead, they were directed to a tent encampment. Some tents had beds, but some were still unfurnished. Directed by a festival employee to grab a tent, attendees started running. People were stealing beds out of other tents. It was chaos. The tents didn't have any locks. The beds were damp. The blankets were soaked. Staff members dumped a bunch of unopened containers like Amazon shipment boxes at the site and instructed concert goers to rifle through them for anything that was missing from their tents. It was everything from flotation devices to sleeping bags to bongos.
Bongos?
Anything, whatever you need. I need a bongo right now. So the idea was that it was going to be cashless. So people had uploaded funds to digital wristbands and stuff, which left everybody stranded without money.
Oh, dear.
And
they couldn't get off, presumably?
No, they were all trapped there. And there was no proper water systems. There was no transportation. It was actually right next to... It wasn't on an island at all. Well, it was on an island, but like it was right next to a sandals resort where people sort of presumably over their cocktails were going, what is going on over there? There's people fighting over rolls. They got given bread and cheese with lettuce on the side as food. I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, I saw a few tweets about this, and people seemed they thought it was hilarious. There was not a lot of sympathy, though, for the concert goers.
Sorry, say that again. A lot of sympathy?
No, there wasn't.
No.
That was the thing.
Because you set yourself up, I'm going to a luxury event because I'm a VIP.
Mm.
You know, what do you expect? Ja Rule said that he was heartbroken and that it was not his fault. But he is taking responsibility. Thank you, Mr. Rule. I appreciate that. May I call you Ja? May I? Oh, thank you very much. Ja. Hello, Ja. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
All right.
Have you ever been to a festival? Do you like festivals?
No, not really.
No.
I've been to Glastonbury. I've been to Latitude a couple of times. But to be honest, either as a guest of someone or as a performer.
The only festival I ever went to, I was performing. I was doing some stand-up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sort of alt-rock festival thing, and it didn't work very well. And
which one was it?
I can't remember what
Reading?
it's called. I honestly can't remember. But in the morning when I went to the car park to retrieve my car, somehow my locked car, someone had got inside and done a poo in it. And I don't know how.
And was the car still locked?
I still don't know how. Yes.
So hold on a second. So it's not possible that you might have got out the car having forgotten that you did it yourself.
It's not one of those Fight Club kind of thing. No.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure.
You're not just saying
someone
that.
had done a poo.
They
in my
got into the car, done the poo,
in
got out, and then locked it.
In the passenger. It may be that it was still like they'd unlocked it. I'd locked it, right? But who goes round a car park trying all the car doors to have a poo in one?
Or maybe somebody who's a bit embarrassed about having poo in public. And they can't
but
get
you
to the
wouldn't
toilet.
go around because alarms will go off and all the rest of it, right?
I don't know. It's not something
It's
that's ever entered
crazy.
my mind. It's where to do a poo near a car
I know,
park.
a Nissan Micra.
Maybe there was a comment on the actual choice of car.
I have always maintained that convertibles are basically just portable urinals. Anyway, we're going to be talking to a very lovely and talented musician, Simon Love. I'm very excited to meet him. We have history. We're going to be talking to him after this.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
Did you say Matthew has a comment on the Fyre Festival, Laura?
Yes, he says his favourite comment is, I cannot emphasise enough that although we can take a lot of lessons from Fyre Festival about conspicuous consumption, social media marketing, parallel economies, the fundamental scam artistry of the young entrepreneur, luxury economy, etc., the real lesson we should take away is how easy it is to lure a bunch of rich people onto an isolated island with no hope of escape.
Yeah, you could have done that thing with the magic busload. You know, the 80 people who own more than half of the world's wealth. You should be like, super exclusive festival, guys.
Yeah, that would solve a lot of political problems.
Here is your bread roll and your puddle of brackish water. Now let's have a chat. You're listening to Talk Radio's Jake Yapp and Laura Shavin here until 11 o'clock. And after that, Paul Ross has a general election special. I'm delighted to say we're joined by a special guest today, Simon Love. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks so much for coming in.
It's okay, I wasn't doing anything.
Now, I should explain the weird circuitous route by which you've come here, right? Which is that we do this slot called These Are the Star Wars, right? Where we have people with their made-up lyrics to instrumental tunes, often theme tunes from shows. So, you know, the idea... Well, I'll play the jingle in a bit. Someone asked on Twitter, has anyone ever done Grange Hill? And there's like a Grange Hill fan account on Twitter who obviously just search, you know, frantically for Grange Hill all the time on Twitter. And they said, yes, funnily enough, here's one for you. And they had a link to a YouTube clip of someone singing a made-up lyrics the theme tune to Grange Hill, and it was you,
Yes.
Simon Love. And I thought, well, hang on, that name rings a bell, right? And it can't be the same Simon Love, can it? So I found you on Twitter, and you are the same Simon Love who we're talking 12 years ago, I feel like.
Something like that.
No, not 12, 10 maybe.
It was
9 or 10 years ago, I
somewhere
think.
around there, yeah.
You contacted me because you wanted to do a cover of a song which I wrote. It went out on a Radio 4 extra comedy show called Pleased to Meet You, and I played a little old lady on it. This is a very convoluted story. Stay with me. It was called The Very Stars Were Meant for Us, and you wanted to cover it, which I was utterly charmed by. I thought that was the most touching. No one's ever paid any attention.
It's a lovely song, and it's playing just as I was falling asleep. So it was sort of thing where you sort of have those things where just as you're drifting off, you think, I'll remember this in the morning, and you never do. So I forced myself to wake up and write some of the words down, and then I found out.
Amazing.
I went back and found out.
Was it a whole song, like, you know, 2 verses, a middle 8 and a last chorus?
It's not a particularly long song.
Right.
It's probably about a minute. But I don't know that a song should go on for much longer than that, generally.
You don't need all that.
So you did a very charming cover, which you put on an album.
I have to hear that.
Called The Loves Love You, right?
Yes.
Now, is this your old band?
That's my old band, yeah. That was the last album we made. So that was the last song on the last album. So
Oh my, how poignant.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what do you do now? You are a
I'm
musician and that's...
Solo artist.
You're a
But
solo
I've got a
artist.
band, so it's not really solo artist.
Yeah,
But-
they probably won't appreciate you saying that, will they?
Their names are on the record,
Yeah,
but,
but
not,
they
not,
understand.
not in the title. You know, if you're looking for them,
But it's understood. It's understood. It's your
Yeah.
it's your gig. It's
there's
your
no show without Punch. Yeah. So
absolutely.
I'm Punch.
Mr.
No.
Punch. You're Mr. Punch.
Interesting. Yeah. And what sort of music? Because you write music.
Yes.
Yeah. So how would you describe your music?
Sort of unpopular pop music.
Unpopular
Yeah.
pop music.
You're selling it well.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, I like that. It's very good. Well, I'm trying to think where to start. Really, would you do us some songs?
Yes.
What do you want to start with?
I could start with a song that was my single from last summer.
Let's do
that.
that.
Was a power ballad.
Power ballad
about tennis.
about tennis.
Yeah, sort of.
Well-trodden path.
Yeah.
Let's let's hear it. What's it called?
Tennis fan.
Tennis Fan by Simon Love.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
You hear that?
Yeah, we can hear that.
Okay. Never saw you with a bat, trying to win against the wall. Never saw you sipping barley water. Didn't know you wanted new balls. I never knew you were a tennis fan, despite all we went through. How was I to know that love meant nothing to you?
Oh, very clever. Don't mean to interrupt.
Advantage of my
Sorry.
heart from start to tennis term goes here. I'm left alone in the gathering dark, just waiting for Cliff and the shadows to appear. Now this bit normally has a big wheelie guitar solo.
Right.
Because I've only got...
Can you hum it?
Yeah,
Do some power humming.
And an orchestra. Too high. I never knew you were a tennis fan, despite all we went through. How was I to know that love meant nothing to you? That love meant nothing to you. That love meant nothing to you.
What a lovely song.
That is.
How
It's available for sale now on my Bandcamp. SimonLove.bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Yes.
How's Bandcamp working out for you?
That's all right.
Yeah.
That was also available as a tennis ball last year.
Of course.
But it wasn't really a tennis ball because in a pound shop you can buy dog toys for £3 for £1. So basically everyone got like a dog tube tennis ball that must have stunk after a while.
Wow.
So somewhere someone's going, "What is that smell?"
Yeah,
it's my song stinking up the place.
Nice. We will have more with Simon Love after this.
It's Mr. Jake Yapp's super entertaining Sunday breakfast on Talk Radio.
I swear I pressed it. I muted it, but I pressed it. There you go. It's time for the slot that everyone seems to love. Matthew, what is wrong with you today? Hummus, Batmobile Chat, and James Whale are all far better than the These Are the Star Wars slot. Matthew, dude, you got married, and what on earth happened to you? Kareen, please sort him out. It's a newlywed couple. Newlyweds listen to the show a lot, and
he has opinions.
Seem to have a lot of problems with the show. Anyway, this is the section of the show where we have your made-up lyrics to instrumental tunes, often theme tunes, and as always, you can always send us. You can either send the lyrics or you can record it. If you want to send us some lyrics, why don't you email jake.yapp@talkradio.co.uk, especially if you're listening to the podcast. You've got plenty of time to get them in for next week's show. jake.yapp@talkradio.co.uk. But we got rather a special one because we've got it being sung live by musician Simon Love, who you're going to be doing the Grange Hill theme tune for us.
Am I on?
Yes, you are now. Yes, you are. Right. So are you feeling confident? Because it was a while ago you recorded this. When did you record this? This was long before we did this strand, wasn't it?
This is another thing when you're in a unsuccessful indie band travelling up and down the country.
Yes.
In a small car.
Yes.
You make your own fun by it. And imagining lyrics for theme tunes.
Yes. Okay. Well, you may be overselling it. We've got the Grange Hill theme tune. Are you prepared to sing this live?
Yes. If it's the short version,
I think it's
there's
the short
one version that goes on for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We're not expecting perfection, Simon. You'll be all right.
We're not expecting 3 minutes. Right. Here we go. It's These Are the Star Wars Grange Hill, sung live by Simon Love. That's the new one. This is the problem when you have 20-year-olds producing radio shows. Oh my God, that was used for like 6 weeks in 1989. That is not the old school theme tune to Grange Hill. Oh my God. That's so hot. But it's like people saying, "Oh yeah, I remember Scooby-Doo. Scrappy was the best."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh my God.
I can record it properly and then send it in so you can have it next week.
No,
with backing vocals.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it live. It's all gonna happen.
He'll find it. He'll find it. He's a good producer.
Okay, here we go. Let's try. Oh, I can't believe that happened. Oh my God.
That's
yes!
It. That's
Here
it.
Here I am. I'm running down the road because I missed the school bus again. Now I'm in the teachers at the blackboard. Now I'm in the swimming pool. Rich school playing football breaks into a fight while we biff bash fought. Playing netball. Netball is a girls' games. Now I'm having lunch. Hey, sausage on the fork. Comics in class. Teacher's angry. He thinks we should read books.
Oh, he's got the wrong version.
This is. I don't want to use the word. I don't want to use the word catastrophe lightly.
It's my middle name.
But so far, that's been a catastrophe.
No, that's just on a loop.
I think we should just leave that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we got the gist. There was some good stuff there.
I think
you
the
were
point
referring
is-
to the graphics that came up. That was good.
Yeah, the titles to any millennials listening. Matthew. It's not his fault. What can you... It's not his fault.
He didn't
It
see
had
it.
like a
It's
sort
not
of
part
comic...
of his childhood.
It was like a comic strip title sequence. And a sausage on a fork. came
Yes,
in, which
the
Simon
sausage on the fork. Nice strong image
very
there, Simon. Well done.
humorously referenced in a way that was not catastrophic.
No.
It was not, and it wasn't your fault. It was, and it wasn't Matthew's fault.
Never
was a
is.
catastrophe. I blame myself for this catastrophe because I should have been across all of that.
And I think the management will agree with you.
I should have. Okay, all right. Ramped it up a notch there, didn't you? Jesus. So tell us about your gigging. Do you gig regularly? You're recording at the moment.
I recorded. I did a show on Monday in the Lexington. That was very good.
Where's the Lexington?
In North London.
Oh right, okay.
Near King's Cross.
Oh, okay.
But that was not.
That was
his.
no. So if you can go back in time, but you can't. But the next one I'm doing is on May the 10th at the Dublin Castle in Camden.
Okay.
And it's like a proper gig in terms of they've made like a contract. I've not had one of those for ages, so I'm nervous.
Yes, piece
I've
of
got to bring
two forms of ID.
2 forms of ID. My mother's maiden name. I've got to bring my mother. No, it's you have to get so many people in, otherwise we have to pay them. So I'm not done one of those
They used
for
to do
ages.
comedy gigs like that in America.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you better plug it. Where can people get tickets?
Online.
Dublin Castle.
Yeah. I'll just turn up to Dublin Castle on May.
Yeah, that's a great venue though.
10th.
Yeah, well, that's.
Do you know about these things?
I live in London.
Well, I don't live in London.
No, that's why I know about them, and you don't possibly.
But I bet
grew up
everyone in London doesn't go, oh, Lexington, great venue.
No, not Lexington, Dublin Castle.
Whatever.
Camden.
Last time I went to the Dublin Castle for a drink after work about a year ago, and I walked in, and Duff from Guns N' Roses was just sat in there.
Have you heard of Guns N' Roses, Jake?
No, I don't live in London. What's this? Is it a pub? You go down to Guns N' Roses later? You cockneys.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
You're South London. You said you brought up in Catford.
I was raised in
something.
Catford.
Yeah.
That's not London. That's just
No, that's not really
Beirut. Yeah, it's unbelievable. If you've ever seen The Wire. Do you know, I realised, have you listened to Serial podcast?
I have, yes.
Have you listened to it?
No. Is that the S-Town one?
No,
it's the precursor to S-Town.
Yeah, a year or two ago.
It was probably better.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't listened to S-Town. No. But I'm guessing it would be hard to follow Serial. It is better. Right, okay, there you go. Listen to Serial. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's in Baltimore. It's all about a story in Baltimore. And
you wish it was set in Catford.
Well, no, the thing is, like, The Wire is set in Baltimore as well. And Baltimore is obviously, like, perhaps one of the most scary places, you know.
Certainly for camera crews.
I went to Baltimore, like, several times. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Did you go to the low rises? Did you visit the low rises?
Hello, you chaps. May I call you Jar? No, I didn't know. I just went to the base. But that's what happens is everybody drives in at speed, not stopping at traffic lights for reds or anything. They park at the Orioles baseball stadium. They all shuffle in like a herd mentality, like sheep. You know, just the ones on the edge get picked off. They watch the baseball game and then back in the car, straight back to Washington DC.
I've only seen 2 episodes of The Wire.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Just a lot of snapping phones in half as well.
Burners.
Yeah, just half of phones everywhere.
Yes.
It's quite a messy town.
Yeah. I just can't take the massacring of technology.
Yeah.
It's perfectly recyclable, all of that. That could have gone to a third world.
They just had to change the SIM.
Yeah. You see them fiddling and taking the back off. Hang on. There it is, gone.
Just get a pay as you go. No, you're absolutely right. Okay.
More music.
We've got time for one more song, and then we'll finish out the show with The Very Stars Were Meant for Us, if that's all right.
Sorry to interrupt. I know Simon's come in to do something. Have we got any other? These are the Star Wars from people.
Yeah, we have actually.
I just think
I got it up and I meant to play it. You're absolutely right. This is from Jem. This is Antiques Roadshow.
Ah.
Are you ready? Here we go.
So don't feel threatened in any way, Simon.
No. Yeah,
but he's
very
very good.
Antiques, 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 antiques. Here's a bloke with a watch. It's not really worth that much. Antiques, 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 antiques. Here's a woman with a sculpture. It is worth a tiny fortune. We want to know what it's worth. We want to know what it's worth. It's just for insurance purposes. It's not because we want to buy a car.
Well done, Jem. That's a triumph. That's good, because Julie had to go Antiques Roadshow as well, didn't she? Yeah, last week.
Oh, yes.
Those are great. I'm declaring a tie because I can't bear fighting. Okay, let's have your next song. Simon, what's this?
The Very Stars, mate. We'll do that last.
Oh, no, we'll do that last.
Okay. I'm not sure now.
Oh, we've only got time for one more. Oh my God.
All right, then. Should we do The Very Stars?
Yeah, that's your song, isn't it? The song that you wrote.
Okay, I thought we could get Paul in and then just close the show out with The Very Stars Are Meant For Us. Can we do that? Shall we do that? I'm sorry.
Right.
Having a production meeting on the... Shall we do that? No. Yes? Is Paul there? Come on in then. Hey, babes!
Hello guys, how you doing? I love the Where's Wally jumper. You're rocking that. Can I give you a quick one I remembered of a home tune of ours?
Yeah.
Every Saturday night I was allowed to step to see the Parkinson show, and what I did every Saturday saying, let's have a lovely booze. Why? Never funny then. Stop
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
Never funny, kept doing it. All that, loads more on the show today, including we're unpicking not one but two interviews Theresa May is giving, even as we speak, simultaneously.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We will stick around for that. Thank you very much, Paul. He is here after the news. I always had... for the Antiques Roadshow, I saw your mum down in Morrison's. It's always your mum for me. I'm not saying that personally to any of you. Just trying to avoid eye contact with three people. It's impossible.
Not my mum,
it's a wall
surely.
of eyes. Stop looking at me. I can't handle it. Okay. In that case, Simon, I'm sorry. If people want to find out, where's your Bandcamp address and stuff?
simonlove.bandcamp.com. And I've also got a website, but I can't remember what it is. simonlove.org.
Well, if they Google Simon Love Music, something like that.
That'll be. Yeah,
Simon Love Music will do it. And people should head down to the Guns N' Roses pub.
Dublin Castle.
Dublin Castle in Camden. May 10th.
Yes.
May 10th. Excellent. Okay, take it over. So this is a song that I wrote years ago, and you did a beautiful cover of. Here we go.
Getting some PRS finally.
Yes, fine.
All right. The very stars were meant for us, as Chopin was for his piano. Heaven and earth are joined at last. The stars above and us below. The crescent moon is shining bright. But can there be a finer sight than you in my arms, in my sticky palm? The stars were meant and sent for.
Those stars were heaven sent for. The very stars were meant for us. Against all the odds. Well done. Thank you so much, Simon. That was really beautiful. Thank you for coming in. Yes. Good luck with the gigs. That pretty much wraps it up for today. Laura, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to put the whole show on YouTube.
Okay, you do that.
So people should stick around. They should listen to the podcast, but I'm going to put the whole show on YouTube because why the hell not? We'll be back next week from 8 o'clock. I hope you'll join us then. I'll be here tomorrow from 1 till 4 covering for John Holmes while he does whatever it is he does on a bank holiday. What the hell does he do on a bank holiday? What do people do with bank holidays?
B&Q.
They do what?
Goes to B&Q.
B&Q.
He's got kids as well.
They've got a shift there.
Paul Ross with you from 11 o'clock right here on Talk Radio. Stay with us.